So I'm going to start on the back side and I'm going to go through, if I can find it, the second hole rather than the first one. And I'm just going to very gently wiggle and pull it through. And I'm going to leave myself a little bit of a tail. Then I'm going to go down through the first hole. And then I'm going to go up through the second hole. And what I'm doing is sort of locking down my first stitch. So no matter how hard I pull now, that first stitch isn't going to come out. And you want to stitch making sure that your thread doesn't catch on anything, which can be a challenge. And you can see how quickly this goes together because of the holes that I punched. And all this moving around would not be conducive to punching the holes as I went. If I can find it. There we go. And with each stitch, I'm checking to make sure that the thread is snug up against the fold. I don't know if you can see that, but there's no looseness or anything like that. Now, I'm going to go back through the previous hole. And you want to make sure that you don't stab the thread as you're stitching, so you're not running a stitch through the thread. You're running the stitch only through paper. So if you can see what that's doing, now that I'm going back up, I'm actually reversing my in and out. So there's going to be thread connecting all of these all the way back. And here I am back where I started, and here's my tail that I left behind. And I'm going to tie a knot. And really what I'm doing is tying an overhand knot and then wrapping the thread around. I think this is actually called a tacket, where you wrap the waxed thread around and around. And that's that. Now I'm leaving those tails just like that because my next step is going to be to wrap a cover around this whole thing and cover up all this stitching on the outside. I like to do that because stitching on the outside is most prone to coming loose or getting wear and tear on it. So wrapping a cover around it will keep that from happening. And for a cover, I'm thinking some more junk mail. Like maybe this. Yeah, that's looking good. So I'm thinking 2 layers of this wrapped around my little book. will be just fine. And it looks like just about that much is enough of this. Let's see if that's true. Oh yeah, that's just about right. So here's my L square, and I'm just gonna square it off on this fold and cut myself off a chunk. That looks pretty good. And I'm just going to do a little mark where I want to cut off on the bottom. So I'm making the cover just slightly larger than the pages, just like I would if I were constructing a regular book. And this time I didn't cut off the folded side, I cut off the bottom to make it easier for me to glue this together. So, quick glue job. This is my quick and dirty way of assembling the book. And those of you who have done my one pad art journal class or watch me assemble little handmade books in the past have seen me do this. You just put some glue on it and smash it in there. And then flip it over and apply glue to the other side. If I was really concerned about how this was going to stay together, I would do this. Just apply a little bit of tacky glue along the spine. And there's my book, ready to decorate. Obviously, all of the print and the illustrations are going the wrong way now. To a certain extent, you could fix that by cutting your pages to orient so that the images are the right direction. I don't really care about that because I know I'm going to cover 90% of this with other images. And this is pretty much sturdy enough to use as a glue book or a collage journal. It's not really heavy enough to use as something that would take paint or any wet media, but gluing, definitely, stuff that's going to be glued in. This is sturdy enough for that, and the gluing will actually make it even more rigid and even sturdier. So there you go, a quick and dirty little 10-page or 11-page journal made from annoying junk mail.